Imagine this. You sit down at your desk, determined to start that important project. 10 minutes later, you're on YouTube watching videos you didn't even mean to click. Your phone buzzes, and suddenly, you've lost another hour scrolling. Later, you wonder, why do I always avoid the hard stuff and get sucked into easy distractions? If this feels familiar, you're not alone. And here's the crazy part. It's not your fault. It's your brain's wiring. But what if you could rewire it? What if you could actually trick your brain into craving the hard things, studying, working out, building that side hustle, instead of running away from them? That's exactly what I discovered when I tried a dopamine detox. And in this video, I'll show you how it works, why it's so powerful, and how you can use it to reset your brain and finally get excited about hard work. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and give this video a like, because what you're about to learn could literally change the way your brain experiences effort. In this video, we'll explore the psychology of dopamine detox. We'll look at what dopamine really is, why our brains crave easy pleasures over hard work, and how temporarily cutting out instant rewards can reset your motivation system. By the end, you'll understand how I tricked my brain into liking difficult tasks, and how you can do the same. We live in the most stimulating time in history. Every ping, every notification, every scroll is a little hit of dopamine. This neurotransmitter, often called the pleasure chemical, isn't actually about pleasure itself. It's about motivation. It's the signal that tells your brain, do this again, chase this reward, want more. The problem? Our modern world hijacks this system. Social media, video games, junk food, binge watching all deliver fast, intense dopamine spikes with little effort. Meanwhile, the important but difficult tasks like studying, exercising, or building skills release dopamine much more slowly. The result? Your brain learns to crave easy highs and avoid the harder but more meaningful paths. That's where the idea of dopamine detox comes in. By deliberately stepping away from instant gratification habits, you give your brain space to reset. Suddenly, the harder things no longer feel impossible. They start to feel rewarding again. Dopamine isn't evil. In fact, it's essential for survival. It drives us to eat, to explore, to achieve goals. But our brain's reward system evolved in a world of scarcity, not abundance. Thousands of years ago, finding sweet fruit or hearing good news was rare. So dopamine pushed us toward those rewards. Now, everything is designed to give you constant stimulation. Apps, ads, even the way foods are engineered. Your brain gets flooded, and like an addict, it keeps chasing more. Neuroscientist Anna Lemke, author of Dopamine Nation, explains it this way. The more dopamine you get, the less sensitive your brain becomes to it. That's why scrolling TikTok for hours leaves you restless and numb, while sitting down to read a book feels almost impossible. Your brain has been rewired to prefer cheap thrills over real challenges. Here's the key insight. Dopamine operates like a balance. When you get a big dopamine hit, the brain tips to pleasure, but afterward, it dips to pain. That's why after binging Netflix, you feel empty. Or after overeating junk food, you feel guilty and sluggish. The higher the spike, the deeper the crash. Over time, the brain adapts. You need more stimulation to feel the same reward, while ordinary tasks feel dull. This is why hard things feel unbearable. It's not that they're actually harder, it's that your brain is calibrated to expect constant highs. A dopamine detox doesn't mean eliminating dopamine. You can't. What it means is temporarily stepping away from high-stimulation activities. No social media, no video games, no junk food, no endless YouTube rabbit holes. Instead, you let your brain recalibrate by embracing stillness or low-stimulation tasks. Reading, walking, journaling, meditation. At first, it feels boring, painfully boring, but then something surprising happens. After a day or two, your brain starts finding small joys in ordinary things again. The book you couldn't focus on suddenly draws you in. The workout you dreaded starts feeling satisfying. Even cleaning your room gives you a sense of progress. This is because the dopamine baseline is resetting. Your brain is rediscovering pleasure in the slower, deeper forms of reward. When I first tried a dopamine detox, I thought it was silly. Could simply avoiding distractions for a day really change how I felt? But I was desperate. My to-do list was overflowing, and I felt stuck in procrastination loops. So I committed. No social media, no junk food, no aimless internet surfing for 48 hours. The first few hours were brutal. I kept reaching for my phone out of habit, realizing how automatic the impulse had become. I felt restless, even anxious. But by the end of day one, something shifted. I picked up a book I'd been meaning to read for months. I journaled. I actually sat with my thoughts instead of drowning them out. On day two, I noticed something shocking. I wanted to work. Not out of guilt, not because I forced myself, but because it felt rewarding. Writing the script, organizing tasks, even tackling chores gave me a small rush. It was like my brain had been tricked into finding satisfaction in effort. This isn't just personal experience. Studies on neuroplasticity show that our brains adapt to what we repeatedly do. When you constantly feed it instant rewards, the brain wires itself to crave them. But when you practice effort and delay gratification, the brain rewires to find meaning in long-term goals. One study at Stanford found that students who delayed gratification, famously measured in the marshmallow test, went on to have higher academic and career success. Why? Because they trained their brains to enjoy the wait, to value the reward at the end of effort. Dopamine detox works on the same principle. By stepping away from artificial highs, you train your brain to associate pleasure with progress instead of procrastination. Think about it. If your brain can be tricked into craving endless scrolling, mindless snacking, and binge watching, then why can't it also be tricked into craving deep work, fitness, or creativity? What if the problem isn't you being lazy, but your brain being overstimulated? Imagine a life where studying feels engaging, where working on your passion project feels as addictive as your phone, where exercise doesn't feel like torture, but like a natural high. That's not a fantasy. It's the result of taking back control of your dopamine system. Here's the truth. The hard things never really get easier, but your brain can learn to enjoy them, and that changes everything. So how can you start your own dopamine detox? Step 1. Identify your main sources of instant gratification. Is it TikTok, video games, sugary food, endless news feeds? Pick one or two to cut out for at least 24 hours. Step 2. Fill the space with low stimulation but meaningful activities. Read. Go for a walk. Write down your thoughts. Try a hobby that doesn't involve screens. Step 3. Gradually reintroduce activities, but with intention. Instead of scrolling mindlessly, set a timer. Instead of eating junk by habit, treat it as a conscious choice. The goal isn't to live without pleasure. The goal is to reset your baseline so that hard work no longer feels unbearable and small wins feel satisfying again. A dopamine detox taught me one powerful lesson. I wasn't lazy. I wasn't broken. My brain was just overstimulated. Once I stepped away from cheap dopamine, I started to enjoy effort again. And that's how I tricked my brain to like doing hard things. The truth is, we're all at war with our own attention. The world is designed to hijack it with endless stimulation. But you don't have to be a prisoner of that system. You can reset. You can rewire. You can make effort rewarding again. So I challenge you. Try your own dopamine detox. Even just one day. Notice how it feels. Notice the space it creates. Notice how your brain begins to find joy in the hard things you once avoided. Because the secret to success isn't forcing yourself to grind. It's learning how to want to grind. If this video inspired you, drop a comment about what habit you detox from first. Share this with a friend who struggles with procrastination. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because together we're learning how to master the mind, not be mastered by it.